Sarath Fonseca to be sworn in as an MP. UMP Working Committee grants approval.
President submits 3 nominees for post of Attorney General to the Constitutional Council. Acting AG Suhad Gamlat among nominees.
A domestic mechanism is sufficient to inquire into human rights, Mahanayaka Theros informed UN Human Rights Chief.
Duminda Disanayaka offers explanation on discipline in the SLFP.
අපි පක්ෂයක් විදියට තීන්දුව తీරන ගන්නේ මධ්‍යම කාරක සභාවේ අනුමැතිය ඇතිව.
As debate continues over the vacant seat of Attorney General, the Bar Association of Sri Lanka stated today that the position ordinarily should be appointed from among the officers of the AG's department.
We have more details on this story coming out on tonight's bulletin.
Good evening and welcome to Primetime News.
Now, before we take a look at our top story tonight, just a reminder to our viewers that you can follow us on our Twitter handle at Newsfirst.lk and join the conversation by using the hashtags featured on each of our stories tonight.
And on to our top story. The Working Committee of the United National Party has decided to appoint Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca as a Member of Parliament. The decision was made at the Working Committee meeting convened at the UNP Party headquarters, Sirikota, today.
The UNP Working Committee meeting was held at the party headquarters this afternoon under the leadership of Party Leader Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. The decision was reached to hand over the national list position, which was left vacant following the demise of late Minister M.K.A.D.S. Kunwardena to Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca. The party leader proposed Sarath Fonseca's name for the vacant national list seat. This was approved unanimously, and accordingly the General Secretary will take steps to inform the Elections Commissioner in order to appoint Sarath Fonseca. Leader of the House, Lakshman Kiriyalla, said that Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca is scheduled to take oaths in Parliament tomorrow. Deputy Minister Ranjan Ramanayaka said that Fonseca may be granted a ministerial position as well.
Meanwhile, Newsfirst contacted Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca to make inquiries regarding the decision made by the UMP Working Committee.
I am humbly happy about this decision. I express my gratitude to the UNP-led United National Front and to the UNP leader and the Working Committee for having faith in me and giving me an opportunity to serve the people of this country. The UNP will inform the Elections Commissioner of the decision within the day, and thereafter the Elections Commissioner will take the necessary steps. I am ready to take on this responsibility and fulfill my duties.
Well, we also questioned Fonseca on whether remaining in active service as Field Marshal would be an obstacle to him serving in Parliament.
As Field Marshal, I am not a permanent member of the army and I do not receive a wage. I am still receiving the salary of a retired general. Like anywhere else in the world, only a 5-star general is called a Field Marshal and they are able to engage in politics. Field Marshals are not persons who are under the law of the Army Act and they do not hold responsibility within the army. Thereby, I have political freedom.
Sumitlal Mendis was sworn in as a new minister to the Western Provincial Council today.
Sumitlal Mendis was sworn in before the President as the Minister of Health, Indigenous Medicine, Social Welfare, Probationary, Child Protection and Women's Affairs of the Western Province today. Sumitlal Mendis, who is an SLFP organizer for the Kaluta district, has continuously represented the Western Provincial Council since 1999. President Maithripala Sirisena has submitted 3 nominees to the Constitutional Council for the post of Attorney General. Member of the Constitutional Council, Parliamentarian Vijitha Herath, elaborated further on the matter.
The President submitted 3 nominees to the Constitutional Council for the post of Attorney General. These 3 names were broadly discussed. The President has informed us of the fundamental requirements when selecting an Attorney General. So the Constitutional Council decided to reconsider these fundamental requirements, following which the final decision on the matter will be announced. After this decision has been made, the Constitutional Council will convene once again at 4 p.m. on Wednesday to come to a final conclusion.
Meanwhile, appearing on the Patricata program on our sister channel Newsfirst TV this morning, Acting Attorney General Suhanda Gamlath expressed the following views. You have been serving as the Acting Attorney General for nearly a month now. So what is the issue that has cropped up? Why haven't you been made permanent?
I cannot give an answer to that. This is a task carried out by the Constitutional Council. The President is taking the necessary measures in this regard.
There are allegations against you over the disappearances of certain files. This was during your tenure as the Secretary to the Ministry of Justice. What is your comment on that?
From what I've been informed, there are major open allegations against me. First, I would like to say that this allegation is completely false. Also, I have made a request myself to conduct an investigation on this missing file.
I think this is an unnecessary problem which has been created as an actual problem because there are very few persons, maybe 2 or 3, who are suitable to this position. This problem wouldn't have arisen if a particular name was nominated to the Constitutional Council when it was required. This issue has cropped up because of the 1-month delay in doing so. What is actually required here is to appoint someone from among the seniors at the Aegis department, because if someone from the outside department is appointed, there will be definitely allegations politically. So there are very capable persons within the department itself to prevent this from happening. Issuing a statement today, the Bar Association of Sri Lanka states that its attention has been drawn to the news items in the media pertaining to the appointment of the Attorney General. The communique notes that the BASL has not expressed a view that any particular individual or the holder of any particular office or position should be appointed to the position of Attorney General. The statement bearing the signature of the Secretary of the BASL, Ajit Patharan, noted that the association has consistently taken up the position that the Attorney General should ordinarily be appointed from among the officers of the department and that such an appointment should preferably be in the order of the seniority unless there are good reasons for not doing so.
United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights Prince Zeid Ra'ad Al Hussein toured Kandy today. Upon his arrival to the Temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic in Kandy, the Human Rights Chief called on the chief prelates of the Malbatu and Askari chapters of the Siam sect.
UN High Commissioner for Human Rights Prince Zeid Ra'ad Al Hussein was welcomed to the Temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic by the Devadana Nilame Pradeep Nilangadala. Thereafter, Prince Zeid Ra'ad Al Hussein called on the chief prelate of the Malbatu chapter of the Siam sect, Most Venerable Thibatwe Sri Sumangala Thera. Reconciliation is very well existent in the country. Tamils, Sinhalese, Muslims and Burghers, everyone are working together in harmony. Those who tried to assassinate the president have also been pardoned. It is difficult to completely resolve matters caused by a 25 to 30-year war within just 2 to 3 years. It is everyone's opinion that the country resorts to a domestic mechanism rather than international investigations, because you could have faith in a domestic mechanism. Subsequently, UN Human Rights Chief called on the chief prelate of the Askari chapter of the Siam sect, Most Venerable Galagama Sri Attadasithera. However, the media was not granted authorization to cover the meeting. The incident was opposed by journalists in the Kandy district. Thereafter, as the police took measures to disperse the journalists, the group demonstrated against the move. Journalists questioned the Human Rights Commissioner on the matter.
There's a small problem with the media. The UN press officer from Colombo office, they said go out from this place. They didn't allow to cover this event. So is that your suggestion or is it from where that suggestion came from?
That I don't know. I know we have a very busy program. We have to move very quickly from one meeting to another. And I know the distinguished press in Sri Lanka wants to know what the answers to some of the questions are. But it's difficult if at every stage we have to do a press conference. So if we have a tight schedule, I hope you will bear with us. But tomorrow we'll be in a position to answer answer all your questions in detail. So,
the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights also expressed his views on his tour of Kandy.
I have to say the trip, the visit to the Temple of the Tooth was a moving experience, a very rare privilege for anyone, and so I was extremely grateful that I had the opportunity to do so and to listen very carefully to the guidance and the wisdom and the opinions of the Maharanaika that I had the privilege and honor of meeting today.
The chief prelate of the Askari chapter of the Siam sect also expressed his views on the meeting with the UN Human Rights Chief. We very clearly explained to him that we can resolve our internal issues through a domestic mechanism. Following the meetings with the chief prelates, UN High Commissioner for Human Rights Said Rad Al Hussein met with the Defence Secretary and commanders of the tribe forces at the Ministry of Defence.
The obtaining of signatures for a public petition titled No to an International War Crimes Tribunal commenced in Colombo today.
The petition was first signed by former President Mahinda Rajapaksa at the Sri Sambuddha-loka Vihara in Colombo. Thereafter, a group including former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa placed their signatures on the petition.
Prince Hussein has not lived in Sri Lanka, has he? So how can someone who is living in another country come here for one day and come to these conclusions? Who is meeting them? It's just one faction that meets them. How can he get an understanding of the situation here by meeting with those who have been trained to speak with prepared speeches? This is an utter joke.
The former Defence Secretary also recalled measures taken by the previous government for reconciliation.
It was the former president who established the commonly known Lessons Learned and Reconciliations Commission. We implemented many of the recommendations made by that commission. Then the commission to investigate complaints into missing persons was also appointed. Moreover, if there were certain crimes which have been committed, a board was established within the army to look into them. If certain individuals had committed these crimes within these 30 years, they have been punished. So we do have that capability within our own structure. So we do not need any international tribunal here. You cannot create reconciliation among the communities in our country by doing such things. Speeches made by the President and the Prime Minister do not specify exactly what mechanism is to be followed. One statement is made on one day and something completely different is said on another day, which is completely contradictory to each other. A group of opposition MPs handed over a letter to the United Nations office in Colombo today.
Good, thank you very much. I will hand
A letter was handed over by MP Bandulekun Vodana to the United Nations compound in Colombo on behalf of the opposition members.
Thank you. We hope to meet.
Although the joint opposition had requested a meeting with the High Commissioner for Human Rights, we have not been given an opportunity as yet. While we reject the report that has been submitted, levelling grave accusations at Sri Lanka's armed forces, using evidence gathered from unidentified witnesses during the war, we have also mentioned in the letter that we condemn the unjust and unfair intervention in the domestic affairs of the country.
කටයුතු කෙරෙහි යුක්තිසහගත සාධාරණ නොවන ආකාරයට මැදිහත් වීම හිලා දකින්න බව තමයි අපි මේ ලිපියේ සඳහන් කරලා තියෙන්නේ.
MP Kumar Valgama arrived at the location shortly after MP Bandula Gunawardhana's departure. We can resolve our own problems. Just as we ended terrorism, we can resolve our own problems. We do not need foreign intervention for this. We have signed a letter and submitted it to the Speaker, seeking that we be allowed to sit as independents in Parliament. Ajit Kumara did this last time, and we can highlight several other examples. It is the Speaker's responsibility to allow the 50 of us to sit independently in Parliament.
Speaking at a public meeting held in Mahapalasa, Suryawaba last night, Minister of Housing and Construction Sajith Premadasa responded to statements being made against the visit of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights.
Professor G.L. Pieris is struggling without a ministerial or any other position. So as of late, he has been caught restless and under pressure because he is in the opposition and he does not even have a parliamentary seat there. While being in such a position, he is saying that the visit of Prince Hussein from the UN Rights Council is wrong. So I would like to ask Professor G.L. Pieris that while saying that the arrival of Prince Hussein is wrong, go look into the mirror and ask yourself who invited Prince Hussein. We did not invite him, G.L. Pieris did. We did not invite Navanitha Pillai. Well, we couldn't invite her because we were in the opposition then, but it was G.L. Pieris who invited her. A group including members of the opposition made an offering to the gods at the Sinigama Devale last Saturday. The smashing of coconuts in this ritual has drawn a lot of attention in the political arena. These hooligans cannot smash coconuts. Coconuts should be broken by virtuous and respectable persons. Can these hooligans perform this ritual? You cannot topple a government by performing such rituals. Coconuts were stolen and some were left back at a state plantation in Udugama in the Galle district. They got caught while transporting them in a tractor. So the curse will be on them for stealing these coconuts. I got the coconuts from my uncle Chamal Rajapaksa's coconut plantation. If not, they might take me to the FCID for the charge of stealing 4 coconuts. The wallets of the persons who stole coconuts and public wealth are smashing them in secret would have probably gone missing at the location they were smashing these coconuts. The gold chains, however, have been safeguarded. What has happened? Who are these people? Is this right? Only rogues and those who keep looking on can oppose this.
Speaking to the media today, parliamentarian Udaya Gamman Pillai elaborated on the proposed formation of a new political party.
Majority of the members of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party do not have a party to join the alliance we are about to form. They do not have a vehicle to travel this journey. So this is the vehicle we are creating. So this is something which is taking place within the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. So when this new party is formed, we will join that party and create an alliance that will win the country.
Who will be the leader if a new party is formed? M. Mahinda Rajapaksa, D. Dinesh Gunawardena, G. Gotabaya Rajapaksa, B. Basil Rajapaksa, W. Vimal Weerawansa, or O. Other. Type news, space your views and send it to 7788. You can also post your views on www.facebook.com/newsfirst.english.
From among the many scenic locations in our country, the Bulgoda Lake is unique for its biodiversity.
The Bulgoda River is a very scenic location. We remember the clay houses of the past and the fishermen bringing in the day's catch.
Amid the destruction of the Bulgoda Lake by the greedy, villagers remained silent, fearing that they would have to pay with their lives for any opposition.
I know that he faced death threats. There was uncertainty in his life, but this journey is not over. I believe Nilupul will see this through to the end until we are victorious.
Disregarding his own safety, he initiated legal action against unauthorized construction around the Bulgoda Lake. Nilupul Kapola Arachi, an environmentalist for our times, who worked to rejuvenate the beauty of the Bulgoda Lake, joins the 10 finalists for We Awards 2015. Still in local news this evening, General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, Minister Duminda Dissanayake, spoke on discipline in the SLFP at a media briefing held in Anuradhapura yesterday.
All parties are entitled to take disciplinary action in the event the party constitution is breached. Thereby, the Sri Lanka Freedom Party has taken the necessary measures for disciplinary action against the SLFP members who are at the centre of a number of issues, as well as those who contested under the tickets of different parties in the recently concluded elections. We need to remind them that the Sri Lanka Freedom Party is alert on party discipline. Whatever decision the party takes is first reached by the party central committee and not by me as the General Secretary or President Maithripala Sirisena as the SLFP chairman. The central committee takes these decisions.
Have we forgotten?
Questions arise regarding payment for air transportation services for the former president and members of his family. 55 trips undertaken in total. Survey carried out by the Sri Lanka Human Rights Commission reveals that a majority of the payments were made by an officer of the Sri Lanka Army. The officer had made payments amounting approximately 17.5 million rupees. Information unavailable on whether the outstanding 9,075,000 rupees had been paid.
We have got to know that an amount of over 10 to 15 million rupees has not yet been paid and that these payments are being evaded. The Air Force has presented facts of the individuals who use these aircraft. We submitted information regarding this as well. Now the government who said they were going to catch these thieves and the thieves who swindle public money have come together and are trying to sweep the fraud and corruption under the carpet. So as the Voice Against Corruption movement, we would like to request the public and those responsible to fulfill the promises they made to the people and recover this money for these institutions, because it is the taxpayers' money which is used to maintain these institutions.
Have we forgotten?
The case pertaining to the 2013 attack in Mathura using clubs from cinnamon trees was taken up again today.
Minister Mangala Samaravira and attorney-at-law Maitri Gunaratne appeared in court today when the hearing was taken up. The hearing had been postponed to the 8th of August and no decision was made.
I believe
that since the attackers and the victims are all on the same side, this can be discussed and resolved now.
Minister of Western Development and Megapolis Patile Champika Ranaweka attended an event at the Timbriga Sub-Divisional Secretariat today.
When we carry out certain environmental projects, we see that there are many individuals spreading false rumors to sabotage these projects. Especially when it comes to the canals which we are constructing as a means of flood control, there are certain false rumors which are being spread that seawater seeps through the drainage system, which destroys the water system. We are carrying out these projects based on accurate scientific studies and according to accurate data of engineers. These projects are not being carried out based on political opinions. Every time we tried to solve the issues in Colombo in the past, we were unable to do so as a result of the objections that were raised. Therefore, we ask that you not be deceived by the false extremist political groups and to provide your support to us. Meanwhile, journalists question the delay in bringing the individuals who are involved in corruption before court. Some people want ceasefires. They want to cease the efforts that are being carried out in the country against those who sabotaged parliamentary proceedings using their political power, robbed and were involved in rackets. There will be no ceasefires for such persons. Just like we did to defeat terrorism, we will continue the struggle until the law is implemented against all the racketeers who swindled from the country.
Now in more local news, Minister of Ports and Shipping Arjuna Ranatunga arrived at the Human Rights Commission today.
The minister arrived at the Human Rights Commission to hand over several files with regard to a complaint made about an irregularity in the submission of nominations for the Sri Lanka cricket election. I made a decision today. We submitted all files regarding the issue today. This isn't the first time this has happened under the sports director. There was a problem with the Volleyball Federation in the past as well. There are massive problems in other sports as well. We have a new government now to do what is right and not what the previous members of the governing bodies did. Sometimes ministers are helpless because of what the officials do. Sometimes the ministers try to act as if they did not notice anything. No matter what mistakes the officials make, the final responsibility falls on the minister. So if this is not done right, it is extremely disappointing. So I decided to hand this over to the Human Rights Commission and bring about justice and to find a solution over officials like this.
Well, on that note, it's time for us to wrap up Primetime News for today. Thank you very much for stopping by. For the News team, I am Joel Outscourt.
And I'm Jitendra Gunasena. Good night and take care.
Good night.